This is chapter 7 in brokerage management, and it is our last section that we're going to cover getting ready for the managing brokers exam. And this is on leadership. The objectives are to develop an office mission statement, identify the methods to build a company image and a reputation, describe a high performance company environment, identify and explain effective communication skills, develop and present an office meeting agenda. So, leadership. Leadership is getting others to work toward a common goal. Defining leadership can be difficult because there are so many possible styles. For almost every organization, leadership can make the difference between success and failure. Leadership matters. Like, those are the people that you see every day that tell you how things are going to go. The mission statement. Every organization needs to define its fundamental purpose. The mission statement clarifies the essence of an organization's existence, its philosophy, and its values. The mission statement provides the basis for judging the success of the organization and its programs. It helps the organization and its stakeholders determine whether the organization is doing its job and making the right decisions. It provides direction when the organization needs to adapt to new policies, helps the board to stay true to its primary purpose, and serves as a benchmark for decision making in times of conflict. Characteristics of a mission statement. A mission statement should be clear, concise, motivational, informative, operational, inspirational, and direct about the purpose, philosophy, and values of the organization. Example: to supply every client or customer with superior real estate service through knowledge, professionalism, and ethics. This company may be focused on hiring experienced, knowledgeable brokers or providing in depth training to its brokers. Think about what your mission statement would be. One of my big ones is we work with distressed homeowners. We specialize in foreclosures, estate sales, substance abuse situations, um, tenants that need to move on, investors, anything in that whole arena. First time buyers is not one of our primary purposes to be in business. We do a great job at that, don't get me wrong, because we're super educated and super experienced, but we tend to use our experience to fulfill what is a more necessary niche that there aren't as many people educated in. We can do credit repair. We can get people into treatment. We could get people into gainful employment, into housing, things like that. And so some of us have gone in our company to get substance abuse counseling degrees. Some of us are peer mentors. All of us are trained on being compassionate and empathetic in business to understand our clientele. And our investors like this about us because they don't want to just take somebody out of their house and kick them out if they're unable to make their payments. The first thing we see is, does the person want to sell? And if they do want to sell, then we facilitate that. If they don't want to sell, is it possible for us to assist that client in holding on to their property and perhaps moving forward in a more successful manner? So if we morph that statement, it would be to supply every client with a choice. What is the choice that you want? And then is it possible to meet that goal, or do we need to expand it and see what other avenues are appropriate for you? Because maybe this house might not work at this time, but that doesn't mean the next house at a later date won't work out just fine. Methods for building company image and reputation. People want to do business with firms in the community that are reputable. This is especially true in real estate, where many people are either buying or selling their largest asset. A brokerage's reputation in the community can be the key to its continued success as a business. Also, licensees affiliated with reputable firms gain from being associated with dependability and professionalism. That means sometimes prioritization. I may have a ton of volunteer commitments, but if I need to respond to an inspection response, that's going to take a 10. That immediately kicks everything off of my schedule because that inspection response is time sensitive and that client is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I'll have to delegate or juggle things. Delegating is a huge part of having a successful company. Doing the right thing. A company can build its image and reputation quickly by doing the right thing and adapting strong ethical values. Treating your staff, clients, and customers fairly and honestly will promote a good image. When people are treated well, they like to tell others about it. This is the basis for referrals as well. There cannot be enough said about ethical behavior and how it affects a firm's image and reputation. Like I said, sometimes ethics means you don't show up to everything that you have on your schedule. You have to adapt and say, I really want to do this. I did have time to do this. I instead am going to be sending someone else to do this, or I'm going to need to reschedule this, or I can't do this. And that's another thing about being super successful. You can't do everything. So I say no to a lot of stuff, which, if you know me as on a one-on-one basis, would make you laugh because I do more than anybody else I know on a daily basis. And I'm always overextended. And I say no to a ton of commitments, a ton of requests, a ton of things because I'm only one person. And even if I'm delegating, my staff is only one staff. There cannot be enough said about ethical behavior and how it affects the firm's image and reputation. It applies to interaction with not only clients, but other brokers, designated brokers, and professionals in the industry. Something I do have to point out, procedures and protocols, deadlines, notices, those are there for a reason. So in business, it's just business. So even if you like somebody and things are going well, adhere to your deadlines, your notices, your inspection responses, things like that. You cannot miss these because in a $500,000 transaction, business trumps friendship if it's a business transaction. And so I do business with a lot of my friends at times, and it's in my best interest to be extremely professional so I don't put my friend and myself in an awkward situation because I was careless about following the guidelines, the rules, the ethical behavior. Monitor yourself, self monitor always, and see which relationship is the most important one in the scenario that you're in, and can you successfully navigate a relationship in certain situations, or do you need to take a pass? Usually, when I sell one of my houses, I actually list it with someone else. I almost always pay a listing commission, full commission to a different realtor because then I don't have to have any responsibility in that transaction. I am just the client. I let the realtor do their job. And if there's a problem, I ask the realtor how they're going to solve it. And I have found that to be my best case scenario. Whenever I represent myself in a real estate situation, it just becomes way more problematic. So I like to use an outside realtor if possible. Community involvement. Community involvement can be a solid means of promoting image and reputation. The following are some suggestions on getting involved in your community. Sponsor a sports team, done that. Donate money to a local nonprofit, do that all the time. Donate your time to a community project, do that all the time. Hold a benefit auction with proceeds to go to a local organization, probably going to do that again in a month or two. Sponsor an individual for a scholarship, done that. Become a member of the Chamber of Commerce, did that. Teach courses on tips for home buyers, do that sometimes. Start a network group, went to one of those recently. I do not want to be in charge of that, just like I don't want to be in charge of a giant Facebook group. It looked like a huge time suck to me, and I'm way too busy, and it's way too consistent. I like one hit things where I can volunteer, then the event's over, and I can move on and find a different one. I don't, if I wanted to run a charity thing, I would. Start a network group, programs for the homeless, do those all the time. Adopt a highway, have never done that. Publish some articles on news in the community, do that at times. Been in the paper a few times for helping distressed sellers and things like that. Organize a community garage sale to benefit a community organization, have never done that. That sounds like a lot of work, and I don't think I want to do that. All of these things that they just named, this is really, if you're a realtor or a business professional, this is really the difference between 1099 and W-2 to me. The 1099, you take charge of stuff.
You take the bull by the horns and you're the person that runs out there and says hi to every person in the room. You're the person that hands out cards to every person in the room. You're the person that has giant databases of names and phone numbers and emails. You're the person that gets 400 likes on a post because you liked 400 other people's posts. And so, even in a real estate team, there's different spots for different people. And if you can find your great spot, you'll be totally happy. If you like bookkeeping and computer work, it's not a great idea to be the customer service person at Safeway. That's not going to be a good fit for you, but you're going to be really happy working on the computer. Social media marketing, if you like to not interact as much with people, but you love to talk and be outgoing, social media marketing is a great choice for you because you can run around shooting videos all the time, talk to people a little bit, and then move on with your day and not get stuck doing that. Um, if high pressure situations stress you out, listing agent is going to be toward the bottom of your list because the listing agent carries all the weight. When the transaction shakes, the listing agent has to figure out, how do I work with this other agent in collaboration? How do I hold this transaction together? How do I facilitate my client in meeting their needs and also getting them to closing? This morning, I had a client tell me they may not have enough money to make it to closing and do the necessary repairs on the property. I'll have to wait. I'll have to have that conversation. I saw that coming 2 weeks ago. So, as a good listing agent, this didn't catch me off guard. It just woke me up like, okay, I have a problem about to come onto the surface. I need to find a way to fix it, work with the other agent in collaboration, and get to closing. The goal on your team is to teach your people collaboration. We are not at war. We're all having a common goal. That's why we're business professionals. Our common goal is to facilitate a transaction in an ethical, honest, profitable manner for everybody involved. The buyer wants whatever it is they want, whether it's a house, an apartment building, a commercial building, a car, a trailer, a homestead, whatever the buyer wants. And the seller wants to sell whatever it is they're trying to unload. And so bringing those two together is key. And us not thinking that we are a decision maker in this transaction is one of the most important things. I've seen sellers drop their price by 50% just to get out of the transaction when a buyer has brought something across. Blown my mind. Where a buyer will come from $100,000 transaction, have a bunch of work orders, drop it to 50,000, and have my seller say, "Great, let's go to closing." And at that point, I have to take a step back. It's something that maybe kept me awake all night where I'm like, oh man, my deal's going to flip. How am I going to deal with this? And little did I know that one of the key questions I ask on a listing consultation every single time, what's more important to you, time or money? Because if it's time, that money may really change. And this is something that I'm a listing agent and I like that because a listing agent is a great listener and a question asker. A listing agent just covers everything and then sits back and tries to help make that happen. But at the highest level, they know that their client is in charge. A buyer's agent, same thing. The thing you ask your buyer, what are the 5 most important things about your purchase to you? Or maybe what are the 10 most important things? And what are 5 of those that you would be willing to give up? That tells you a lot about who you're working with and how you're working. If, for me, the most important thing being in the country, that's my biggest thing right now. And I did go from 85 miles north months ago to about 20 miles east more recently. And going 20 miles east, I was able to find a property and get it under contract, and we bought it. And so we own a property now. I'm so happy. And now we're getting ready to buy our second property. And I'm looking at, do I want to stay in that area 20 miles east where I've had great luck? Or do I want to go back to beating my head against the wall 85 miles north where it takes me a day trip to go look at properties every time? It takes me a day trip to get back. And that's going to be how it is for me every time that I have to interact with that property because we're using these as rentals. So if I have to go and work with that rental property, do I want to have to take an entire day to go up there or do I want to only go 20 minutes east? Seems like a no-brainer to me. Advertising. Advertising can promote a company's image. The following are some means of effective advertising. Let me stop here. I have done everything under the sun for advertising. I've been on buses. I've been on golf courses. I've been on billboards. I've been all over the place. Advertising, you can really morph this to your benefit. I'm getting ready to buy us a property for, I think the seller wants $50,000, and I'm going to put my own billboard on my own property in an area where there's no billboards right now. Super high traffic shortcut from one busy traffic arterial to another. And so if I can negotiate this contract at, say, $400 or $500 a month times however long it's going to take, it's no different than what I would be paying advertising wise for an actual billboard. But at the end of the story, we own the land, and it's been for sale for probably 5 years on and off the market. I see no reason they wouldn't say yes. And so then I'm just going to have the guys go up there and put up those giant posts and string, like, those banners between it. And I'm doing it for my landscaping company probably. And it's just going to say fences. And those guys are going to make money hand over fist for this banner. But I could do anything with it. I could do it for real estate. I could do it for we buy houses. And like I said, it's not going anywhere. This arterial is a main cutoff, and it's nothing but money for us. It goes all the way across east for an endless amount of time. And so the other thing is, when you're doing your advertising, don't get caught up in the minutia. Do something. Do something. Every day you have to do something, because you wake up unemployed every day. And if you don't get a job the night before or the day of, nobody's bringing unemployment to your door. So you have to go find work every single day. Every day you have to find work. So the ways to advertise: television, radio, billboards, brochures, mailings, web presence, social marketing. They're all successful ways to advertise. You find your niche and figure out what works for you. One of the key things that I do have to say, and I'm having trouble with this, when you get big, you need an admin super bad. You cannot, I find myself only sleeping like 2 hours a night because I'm carrying so many hours of work to maintain our presence, because I have to add 40 more hours into my week that belongs to someone else's job description. And I have an ad going right now, but the people I have responding, so far, none of them are the one. Because your admin, you'll know when you get them, because your admin is going to come in and they're going to say, hey, I'm here to make your life better. And these are the ways I'm going to do it. They'll tell you, and you'll be like, you're the person I've been waiting for. Professional affiliations. Many brokerages will affiliate themselves with certain groups within the industry. These affiliations promote an image of professionalism. The list is extensive, but the following are some of the more common. The Commercial Brokers Association. I belong to that. I have for years. I have never really done anything with it, just because commercial brokers and residential brokers are two different types of agents, for one thing. But the other thing is, there's a high level of education necessary in the Commercial Brokers Association. It's something I do have to do really soon, because when you get into investing in apartments, condo buildings, and building from the ground up, you have to know net profits, net proceeds, how things work, commercial leases, things like that. And we recently have decided that we're going to go back into that type of investing. We were about to before the pandemic. And so you want to know what you're doing. That's not for the novice. There's a lot to know about Commercial Brokers Association, and that education is really expensive. It starts, hundreds into the thousands. Do a good job. Know what you're doing. Don't be flaky. MLS, Better Business Bureau, a franchise, an association of independent brokerages, National Association of Realtors, National Washington Association of Realtors, and Chamber of Commerce. The realtors are one of my favorite. My company recently quit being a member of the realtors, and I was really disappointed to see that. I love being a realtor, and that's something that is a decision maker for me. Like when I go to a firm, my first question is, are you a member of the National Association of Realtors? Because realtors really ethical. That's one of the things, is that they really try to push ethics. And I like doing business with other people that are ethical. I hate working with unethical people because it gets so convoluted because they're so busy trying to push their own agenda that they don't pause to think, not could I, but should I? And that's something that is important to me. Not can I, should I? Developing a web presence. Many home buyers and sellers start their research on the internet. Having a web presence is essential to your image. If you're going to make your own web page, Tyler Moore, WordPress for Dummies 2022, love that guy. Made a ton of websites from Tyler Moore. He's the best. For those of you who like to write blogging about current real estate topics, may also be a way for you to promote your image and reputation. There is an array of sites that will help you set up a blog template and obtain a blog URL, and then take you through the steps on how to post and drive traffic to your site. I'd probably start with Tyler Moore on that. There's a lot of different SEO tools that are available on YouTube that I watch that train you how to do GeoImager. That's another one. I love GeoImager. I can tag my pictures, and from what I've heard, when you upload them onto Google, it'll scrub off your tags. But if you put them directly on your Facebook or on your web page, they go right in, and then you automatically are getting clicks from people when they're clicking on stuff, and it's driving them to say hashtag Gardener of Eden NW. That's my landscaping company. I tag everything I have with hashtag Gardener of Eden NW, and then a ton of people follow me on Instagram, and Gardener of Eden does a lot of community service. So then it benefits those people. You as a real estate professional have almost a responsibility to be a contributing member of society at a higher level, because you're out there so much. You can easily make the world a better place. Hear those baby puppies? Note, Facebook and Twitter are also great ways to promote your business through social networking. Yep. Apparently the education material agrees with me. A high performance company environment. High performance companies usually have things in common, such as a strong web presence, great leadership, mentoring, and training, workable business model, brokerage professional affiliations, good reputation and image, policies to prevent discrimination and sexual harassment, professional support staff, the latest technology, philosophy of treating staff and affiliates well, competent office personnel who can monitor business equipment, conducive work environment, personnel who know how to budget and manage money. I cannot stress enough staying on top of who it is that's representing you in public. If you have someone that just doesn't have what it takes, they have a poor attitude, they're unkind, they're dishonest, you are in charge of your own business, but who works for you is who represents you. So kind of what I was saying about, if you go to the grocery store and somebody that should be doing the bookkeeping is doing the cashier job, you'll know, because you'll get there and they won't be friendly, they won't be outgoing, and that's on the person in charge of hiring. And that's on the person in charge of scheduling. If somebody's miserable at their job, help them find a better fit. Like, that's just common decency. Don't make somebody suffer every day. Effective communication skills. Effective communication skills are essential. Listening is the most difficult skill to learn. Listening requires hard work and participation by all involved. There are some essential rules for developing active listening. Focus on listening rather than being distracted by other noise. Understanding, we're really practicing that with those puppies in the background, right? Understanding the meaning of the information before responding to it. Don't finish people's sentences. Don't assume you know where they're going. Let a person take the time to fully get their message across. Hold off on judgment until all information is communicated and understood. Rephrase the information to make sure you understand it. Key counseling technique. So what I heard is XYZ. Then you pause so that person can say, yes, that's what I'm saying, or no, that's not what I said at all. Come on. Written and oral communication are both important, especially with the massive increase in email conversations. Written communication is key for real estate brokers because could you hand me one of those puppies, please, so that these people can see what it is that they're listening to? So this is Lewis the puppy. Went to the doctor today. This is his first collar right here. He's new to the planet, and the doctor said that he has a little deviated septum. You know, English bulldogs are pretty famous for that. And other than that, he is pretty healthy. And he walked on a leash, and he's just living his best life. These are some of the things that we get to enjoy. You know, having little English bulldogs running all over the place, being the cutest person in the whole world. I'm so cute. All right, go back to your playing. Okay. Nonverbal communication or body language is also an important form of communication. When we interact with others, we continuously give and receive countless signals. All of our nonverbal behaviors, the gestures we make, the way we sit, how fast or loud we talk, how close we stand, how much eye contact we make, can send strong messages. The way you listen, look, move, and react can tell the other person whether or not you care and how well you are listening to them. The nonverbal signals you send either produce a sense of interest, trust, and their desire to connect with you, or they generate disinterest, distrust, and confusion. Eye contact is what is known as mirroring. When your body language matches that of the person you are talking with, are effective ways to communicate that you are listening and you are trustworthy. So put your phone away. If you are meeting with someone and you're supposed to be in the moment, nobody wants to even see you look at your phone. Even that glance says, I'm not really here. I'm just waiting for this to end so I can get on to my next thing. Putting your phone away and listening and participating is something that is critical in today's society. People love for other people to care what they have to say. Okay, office meeting agenda. Having an office meeting agenda is a great idea so that people know how long the meeting's going to take and what the next step is. I do parties like this. So I've like almost 8 years sober at this point. I don't drink anymore. And it used to be pain because people would come to my house and they would come to my parties, and then I would want to get to drinking and they would want to get to hanging out. And I would just be like, how long will this go on for? And so something I learned was to have a window where I'd be like, hey, do you want to come to my house for dinner from 6 to 8? And then at 8 o'clock, I would be quick to open and close the front door and be like, thanks for coming. See you later. People appreciate that. I learned. People appreciate knowing when they get to escape because we have things to do and when they're going to show up. And better yet, if you have an agenda, it says blow by blow how long you're going to spend on each topic. And if you have that person that wants to ask a million questions, hand out paper. I'm big on handing out paper at every meeting with someone and a pen saying, please feel free to jot down any questions or concerns you may have so we can address those by the time we're done today. And then if people start interrupting, all you got to say is, that's a great question. Will you jot that down so that when we go over questions and comments and concerns, we can make sure to address that? So on this office meeting, the time starts at 9 a.m. They do a recap of last week's meeting. They do the new office procedures for turning in listings, the licensee safety warning, as a broker was attacked a few days ago, blah, blah, blah. Open forum for licensees to announce their new listings. A guest speaker, 15 minutes for that person is what they gave. Review of current market conditions, discussion of a new firm supplied to the MLS, form, discussion of an incentive program for affiliates. If you get more listings, we're going to give you a turkey. Review of new state laws that affect brokerages. And then the meeting's over at 10. That's it. And so, like I said, you can't let other people distract you and steal your time on this. You're going to have to be able to say, hey, that's a great question. Let's visit that later. So you could have an after the meeting question period, or if you finish early, you can hit it then. Tips on holding an office meeting. Select content that is important to the affiliates and the brokerage. Add some spice to keep attendees engaged. Guest speakers, humor, food. Announce that cell phones should be turned off when the meeting starts. Obviously, put on vibrate. Thank affiliates for being there and always start on time. Good meeting starts on time, ends on time. If time allows, ask your broker for input on topics such as feedback from the meeting, what's happening in the field, the competition, suggestions for making the brokerage a better place to work, suggestions to increase productivity. That's a great one. I'm big on that. Even in any of the companies that I work with, productivity is your number one thing, because without an income, you don't have a business. So productivity, you see these guys coming and going all day today, right? They're getting ready to go start their landscaping day. They know if they're still here, we're not making money, right? So their goal is to be getting out the door. And my goal after this is to make sure that everybody's out there making the quota that they're supposed to make on a daily basis. And I have the test for the managing broker exam tomorrow at 9 a.m. that I'm going to pass that test. That's my goal. Everybody wants me to not screw up my job, and I want them to not screw up theirs. If possible, hold the meeting in an area that is comfortable for the agents, including the temperature of the room, ample seating, and free from distractions. That's a big one. Like I said, I would, in my meetings, practice social etiquette. We're going to have this meeting. I'd like everybody to put your phones away and not text for this hour. If you can do that, please. And if you need to put a basket in the front of the room, that may be something that would help you to teach your people how to appropriately work with the public with a sense of common courtesy. And that's all we got for this last section. I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day.